Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to 2025, kicking off the year with a London derby that has way more on the line than just local pride. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
It's Brentford hosting Arsenal at the G-Tech Community Stadium, and we're going over a ton of previews and predictions and all the team news we can find to really dig into not just who might win, but what this match really means, for both clubs at this point in the season.
Yeah.
We've got some pretty wild stats to uncover, too.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, Brentford's injury list is looking more like an entire starting 11 these days.
Yeah, it's really remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Arsenal fighting to keep their title hopes alive.
Right.
And they're going up against a Brentford side that's been practically unbeatable at home.
Yeah.
Even though they're missing half their squad. This match could be a real turning point for both of them.
Definitely could be. Okay, so first, let's unpack this title race pressure cooker. I mean, Arsenal are trailing Liverpool by 9 points.
9 points? Yeah, a hefty 9 points. And then to make things even worse, Nottingham Forest just jumped ahead of them into second place.
Ouch.
Itch.
Yeah.
Ouch is right. I mean,
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's not even just the points gap at this point. It's the way they've been dropping these points, you know?
Yeah.
Arsenal barely got past Ipswich over Christmas while Liverpool were just destroying West Ham.
Yeah, it was like target practice out there.
Exactly. Every point they drop from now on, it feels like a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And on the other side of the pitch, we've got Brentford with this home fortress reputation.
Right.
They've got the joint best home record in the entire Premier League.
Yeah, it's impressive.
But a few cracks are starting to show.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest really ended their unbeaten streak at the G-Tech, and they haven't won a match in their last 3 outings.
I think the real key here is that a lot of those early Brentford home wins were against teams, further down the table.
They were really aggressive, pressing, high-forcing errors, and the crowd was just electric.
Yeah.
But now the big question is, can they replicate that same stifling, high-energy style against a top team like Arsenal?
Right.
A team that's built to handle that kind of pressure.
Right.
This match is the ultimate test of whether Brentford's home advantage is really sustainable against the big boys.
That's a great point. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe I should say the
treatment table.
Yeah, the treatment table in the room, because Brentford's injury list is downright scary.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're not just talking about, a few players out here. It's practically a whole starting 11 worth of talent on the sidelines.
And it's not just the quantity, it's the quality of these players that are missing.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Aaron Hickey, Rico, Henry Ethan Pinnock.
Right.
These are long-term absences that have already been really disrupting their backline.
For sure.
And then you add in Ben Mee and goalkeeper Mark Flecken going down recently, and it's just a full-blown defensive crisis.
Yeah, it's a nightmare scenario for Thomas Frank.
It really is.
Trying to piece together a defense that can withstand Arsenal's attack.
Yeah.
Speaking of Arsenal's attack, they've got some injury woes of their own to deal with.
They do.
And it's a big one.
A big one.
Bukayo Saka is out, and that is a massive blow to their creative spark.
Yeah, I mean, you can't overstate how important Saka is to Arsenal's game plan.
No.
He's their main outlet on that right side, constantly stretching defenses with his pace and his dribbling.
Yeah.
So now Arteta has to get creative. He could put Gabriel Jesus in on the right, bring in his experience and directness, or maybe stick with Gabriel Martinelli. He's been playing well. But either way, filling that Saka-shaped hole is not going to be easy.
No, it's a tough one. So we've got Brentford with a makeshift defense trying to hold off an Arsenal attack that's missing its most dangerous weapon.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah. Talk about a tactical puzzle. But before we get too deep into that, let's rewind a bit and look at the head-to-head history between these two.
And this is where it gets interesting. On paper, Arsenal has a clear advantage. They've won all 3 of their previous visits to the G-Tech.
Wow.
And get this, they haven't even conceded a single goal in those matches.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, sure, Brentford famously beat them in their very first Premier League meeting ever.
Right.
But since then, it's been all Arsenal.
That's interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That stat about not conceding a goal at the G-Tech is pretty wild. I mean, Brentford has been so solid at home this season.
Yeah.
So that really highlights just how dominant Arsenal has been against them.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, is it more about Arsenal being clinical or Brentford just having an off day against them?
That's a great question.
It makes you think.
It's probably a bit of both. I think
yeah.
Arsenal's been really efficient in front of goal against them, but they've also been so organized defensively,
right,
shutting down Brentford's counterattacks.
Yeah.
the question is, with Brentford's injury woes and Arsenal missing Saka, are we going to see that same pattern play out again? That's the question, isn't it?
All right.
All right, let's move on to some key players we should be watching out for. For Brentford, all eyes are on Brian Mbeumo and Yoani Wissa up front.
Right.
They've combined for 20 goals this season.
Wow.
And here's the kicker. 16 of those were scored at home.
At home?
Yeah. They are a real threat on their own turf.
You know, I have to disagree with this idea that Brentford's wins were just against weaker teams.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that match against Manchester City earlier this season?
Oh, yeah.
They completely shut down their attack.
Yeah.
Mbeumo scored the winning goal on this just brilliant counterattack.
Yeah.
The tactical masterclass, and it shows they can hurt even the best teams in the league.
Yeah, that's a good point. They definitely can't be underestimated, even with all the injuries.
No.
And speaking of players with something to prove,
Yes.
how about David Raya facing his former club
Oh, wow.
for the very first time?
Yeah.
That's got to be emotional for him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Raya has been a revelation for Arsenal since joining. He's already broken the club record for clean sheets.
Really?
Yeah, 23 in his first 50 appearances.
That's incredible.
Talk about a statement signing.
Yeah.
Facing Brentford, the team that sold him will definitely add another layer of intrigue to this match.
For sure.
As a Brentford fan.
Yeah.
What's more worrying to you, the missing defenders or the lack of goals lately?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough call, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some predictions. Most of the experts are leaning towards a low-scoring Arsenal victory.
Yeah.
Which seems logical given Brentford's injury woes.
Right. But I wouldn't count Brentford out just yet.
Okay.
This is a team that thrives on defying expectations.
Yeah.
They're playing at home where they've been incredibly tough to beat, and after a couple of disappointing results,
Yeah.
they're going to be hungry to prove they can still compete with the best.
So you're saying there's a chance for a Brentford upset?
Oh, there's always a chance in football. I like the sound of that. Especially in a match with this much emotion and uncertainty. Yeah. Don't forget, Arsenal's going to be without Saka.
Yeah.
And that could really disrupt their attacking rhythm.
For sure.
Brentford may be missing key players, but they're organized, they're motivated, and they'll be looking to hit Arsenal on the break with those lightning-fast counterattacks.
Yeah.
This match is far from a foregone conclusion.
Okay, I like it. So we've got a wounded but, still dangerous Brentford side going up against an Arsenal team that's under a lot of pressure to deliver.
Yeah.
The tension is definitely building, but let's kind of shift gears a little bit and get into the tactical stuff. How might all these injuries actually, change the way this game is played?
That's what makes this match so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Let's start with Brentford.
Yeah.
Your defense is, in shambles. So what do you think Thomas Frank's going to do? How's he going to set them up?
Well, with so many defenders out, I'd imagine he's almost forced to go with a super conservative approach, right? Maybe a 4-4-2, pack the midfield, and just try to frustrate Arsenal's attack.
See, I actually think he might surprise us and go for a more attacking formation, like a 4-3-3. Remember, Brentford's strength has always been that high-energy pressing style. Yeah. I think he might try to, turn their defensive weakness into an offensive strength by using Mbeumo and Wissa's speed on the counterattack.
Ooh, that's an interesting take. I hadn't thought about that. It'd be risky for sure, but yeah, it could catch Arsenal off guard. So a high risk, high reward kind of strategy from Brentford.
Exactly. And that's what makes this match so compelling. You've got two teams with very different styles, both forced to adapt because of these injuries. It's going to be a really interesting tactical battle.
For sure. Now, on the other side, how does Arteta adjust his tactics without Saka?
That is the million-dollar question. Saka's absence leaves a huge hole in their attack, and it'll be interesting to see how Arteta tries to fill it. He could go Trossard, his dribbling is pretty similar to Costan's, or he could maybe opt for Nketiah and shift to a two-striker system and play a bit more direct.
Yeah, those are two very different options with very different implications for Arsenal's overall game plan. Trossard would offer more width and creativity, while Nketiah would give them a more physical presence up front. It's a tough choice for Arteta, but it's also a chance to show off his tactical flexibility.
Definitely. And it's not just about who replaces Saka, it's about how the entire team adjusts.
Yeah.
Without Saka's speed on the right, they might have to rely more on their build-up play through the middle.
Yeah.
That means guys like Odegaard and Xhaka will have even more responsibility in dictating the tempo and creating chances.
Speaking of creating chances, one thing that really stood out to me from, our research is that Brentford has been so effective at forcing turnovers high up the pitch, especially at home. They average almost 10 recoveries in the final third every game, which is more than any other team in the league.
That's a huge stat, and it just goes to show why they've been so strong at the G-Tech.
Yeah.
Their high press is really effective at home, and they've punished teams that are sloppy in possession. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that intensity against Arsenal, who are known for, their slick passing and their patient buildup.
Right. Taking a step back, what does all this mean for, the fans that are going to be watching this match? Brentford supporters must be on edge, but man, imagine the roar of that crowd if they pull this off.
Oh, the atmosphere is going to be electric at the Jet Tech.
Yeah.
For Brentford fans, this match is about pride. It's about resilience.
Yeah.
They've seen their team defy expectations all season, and they'll be hoping for another magical performance.
Yeah.
Even with all these injuries.
Yeah.
For Arsenal fans, the stakes are even higher. They know their team needs a win to stay in the title race, and that pressure is intense.
Yeah.
Every missed chance, every defensive error, it's all going to be amplified by this, anxious fan base that is desperate for a title.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've got this tactical chess match brewing, right? Both managers having to make adjustments because of these injuries. But let's not forget about the mental side of all this, too.
Yeah.
How do you think these injuries are going to affect the players' mindsets?
Well, for Brentford, it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Right.
On one hand, they could feel liberated playing with this nothing-to-lose mentality. The pressure's off.
Huh.
They can just go out and express themselves.
Yeah.
But seeing so many of your teammates sidelined can also be tough on morale.
Right.
It's hard to stay positive when your team's constantly battling injuries.
Yeah, I bet. And for Arsenal, that pressure to win, especially without Saka, has got to be immense.
It is.
I mean, they're already 9 points behind Liverpool. Another slip-up could be devastating to their title hopes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the weight of those expectations, that could be a real burden, especially for the younger players.
Yeah.
We've seen Arsenal crumble under pressure before, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle the mental side of this match.
Yeah, definitely. All right, before we get to our predictions, let's talk about something else that could play a big role in this match. Tactical fouls.
Ah, yes. The dark arts of football.
Exactly. Tactical fouls, just to kind of define it for anyone who isn't familiar.
Right.
These are those deliberate fouls that are committed to break up an opponent's attack.
Yeah.
Usually when a player's on like a dangerous run or a counterattack.
Right.
It's kind of a cynical tactic, but it can be really effective at disrupting the flow of the game and just frustrating the other team.
Oh, for sure.
And Brentford has been known to use this pretty effectively, haven't they?
They have indeed. Christian Norgard in particular, he's developed a bit of a reputation for his well-timed tactical fouls.
Uh-huh.
And with Arsenal likely to dominate possession, don't be surprised if we see Brentford using this tactic to slow down their attacks and break up their rhythm.
So even though Brentford might be outmatched on paper, you're saying they can still use their tactical smarts and a bit of gamesmanship to even things out.
Exactly. It's like, David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
Brentford's the underdog trying to use every tool at their disposal to take down the giant.
Love it. All right, so we've covered a lot here. Tactical analysis, psychological warfare. Now let's get to the moment of truth predictions.
Yeah.
Do you see a potential upset brewing? Okay, prediction time. But before we make any bold claims, let's focus on some, key matchups that could really swing this whole match. What are you looking at?
Yeah, the individual battles are going to be so important. I'm really interested to see how Brentford's, danger men up front,
Right.
Mbemo and Wissa, how they do against Arsenal center backs, Saliba and Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
That's strength versus speed right there.
Classic clash of styles. I mean, Mbemo and Wissa are all about that pace and directness, always looking to get behind the defense.
Yes.
Saliba and Gabriel are big, strong, dominating in the air.
If Brentford can isolate Mbemo and Wissa against those two,
Oh, yeah.
it could be a nightmare for Arsenal.
Big time.
They'll need to be quick and clinical with their finishing.
Yeah, on the other hand, though, if Saliba and Gabriel can, use their physicality and win those aerial battles, they can shut down Brentford's biggest threat. It's going to be a good one to watch. Another matchup I'm keeping an eye on is in midfield.
Okay.
Thomas Partey versus Brentford's duo of Norgard and Janelt.
Oh, yeah.
This is where the whole match could be won or lost.
That's right.
Partey, he's the engine of Arsenal's midfield, breaks up, attacks, controls the tempo, sets the tone for their build-up play.
Yes, but Norgard and Janelt are a really tough pair.
Oh, yeah.
They're tough, tenacious, and incredibly disciplined.
It's going to be a battle for
Yeah.
sure. This midfield battle is all about those second balls and winning those 50-50 challenges.
Yeah.
If Partey can, dominate those areas and take control,
Well,
Arsenal should be able to dictate the tempo and create more chances.
right.
But if Norgard and Janelle can disrupt his rhythm and win that midfield battle, Brentford could really get a foothold in the match.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the emotional aspect of David Rhea facing his old team.
Oh, that's right.
That's always a special matchup. There's always an extra edge when a player goes up against his former club. He'll be looking to prove a point. Show them what they're missing.
Yeah.
And of course, you get a clean sheet.
Yeah.
But, Brentford's attackers are going to be just as motivated to score against them.
Yeah, I bet. It'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. Okay, enough build-up time for us to, make our predictions. What do you think? What's your prediction for this New Year's Day showdown?
It's a tough one.
Oh.
Honestly, Brentford's injuries are a big worry, but you can't ignore their home form and their ability to pull off upsets. Arsenal needs the points, and they should have enough quality to get a win, even without Saka. I'm going to go with a narrow 2-1 victory for Arsenal.
I see where you're coming from, but I'm feeling a little more cautious. I think Brentford's a tough team to beat at home, and I think they'll be able to frustrate Arsenal's attack, especially without Saka's creativity. I'm going for a 1-1 draw, a hard-fought point for both sides.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. It just shows how unpredictable this match is. It's not always about who's better on paper. It's about who performs on the day. Who wants it more and who can execute their game plan.
Exactly. That's what makes football so great, right? The drama, the passion, the unpredictability. Well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We explored the tactical battles, analyzed all the psychological factors, even made some pretty bold predictions. But now it's your turn. What do you think will be the big storylines coming out of this New Year's Day match? Let us know your predictions and what you're most excited to see. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Brentford versus Arsenal. Enjoy the match, everyone.